look at this. I was searching on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, found this Toyota Tundra for $1,000, $999 to be exact. I already have one, of course. There's my two. So why did I get another one? Well, this was a limited version and has a lot of parts that I want to put on mine to really perfect my year 2000 Tundra. You can see those fender flares on the one on the right. That's the truck I just got. These guys are both the same year. Just a limited version versus SR5, which are going around right now. So those fender flares alone are worth like $400 if you try to find them anywhere, and they're really hard to find. You can see I've just got this really janky repair on my fenders, some paint over it that I like to swap the bed from the other one. So I'm going to do a little walk around here and show both the trucks, and I'm really kind of struggling. I got a list for both of what needs to be repaired or what I'd like about each truck, and I'm trying to figure out the right combination of parts to make the best truck that I can. So even though this bed looks a little beat on the inside, the outside you can see it looks pretty good actually. Not much rust, and it has those pre-painted fender flares already on it. I got some dents and a huge dent along the side of my SR5. So going back, here's the bumper. I just thought I'd show this. Basically the metal rusts away right from beneath the chrome and just leaves the chrome layer just by itself. The metal just rusts right away. This is upstate New York. Tons of salt on the road in the winter, moisture the whole time, all 6 months of winter. And look at this thing. And the guy just had it on there. Like I would not leave that on my truck, and I'd want to replace it or just take it off. It looks a lot better, but now I've got it. So going and looking at the undercarriage, look at this exhaust. It's so jerry-rigged. Got all these different parts and connections. That's not even the right exhaust, and it ends right there, no tailpipe. So once I swap my parts, I'm planning on taking this truck and selling it, trying to get my money back or more. It's a limited edition inside, so not limited edition, limited model. So it's got some cool features like temp gauge on the a little display on the mirror. It's all leather seats. They're in okay condition, not the best, could be made a little better. It's got the wood trim if you're into that. It's got a stock stereo, which I want for my other truck because I do have a aftermarket stereo, but I can't plug my iPhone into it or anything. It's got a brake controller in it, which I might swap. Some fog lights. Oh, definitely the fog lights, because those can be expensive to buy. It also has some kind of remote start and security system, which I haven't figured out yet. Not sure. I have key fobs, so it's got power windows, power locks, and the fob. Sorry, the video cut out there. So looking now, and this is my SR5, the one I want to keep and just make better and better. I'm cool with the cloth seats. They're in good condition. A little cigarette burn on there from the last owner, but I like the gray interior versus the brown. This one's only got 95,000 miles on it versus the other one has 145. You see there's an aftermarket radio, and it's got a big gap under it. So I got this really cool dash cam / reverse cam that I use, especially when I have my camper on, so I can still have a rear view. Love it, and it records all the time. Back seat's great. The kids love it. Plenty of room for them back there. And overall, the truck is a good condition. Now back to the the other truck, the newer one. Look at that, the chrome bumper. Just completely rusted out from the inside. The tires are in okay condition. I got to check the date on them, but a couple of them lose air, so I don't know what's up something with the rims. But look at this fender, man. This one's in bad shape. Someone put spray foam in there. Good stuff, great stuff from Home Depot probably. Try to fill it in, and look at the paint problem here. This is really strange on this truck. Mine doesn't have any of this paint problem at all. The clear coat is totally peeling off, and it's all along one side of the truck, the hood and the roof of the cab. But the funny thing is, if you go around the other side, the whole side is perfect. Clear coat's great, and the paint looks great after all these years. So why is it only this one side? Do you always, there's not much sun in New York, so I can't imagine it being from that, just a bad process. But this paint looks great over here, and that's how mine looks on my SR5. So I'm thinking about taking the front fender from this one right here and putting that on mine, because I've got rust holes in my front fenders. So that would be a good swap. Going back to just look at the engine bays. This engine needs a little cleanup. It's got the typical rust, but you can see, well, it's got a little aftermarket intake. I have no idea if this really gives you any performance or not. It's, is it supposed to be a cold intake? Because it's right in the engine bay. It's not separated or anything. And ABS, that is the main difference between the two trucks. Same model year, different trims. This one has ABS. Mine does not, and I'll go show you that later. some oil, you know, squirting out a little bit somewhere. Here's a cover on my other truck has a hole in it. And there's a bunch of random wires in here for the security system, and it's got remote start warnings, a couple stickers, so maybe the remote start is still operational. Not sure. I got the key fobs, but I don't know exactly what buttons to push to start it up, so I'll have to look into that. Overall, though, engine compartment, the engine bay, I like mine better. It's better condition. Not only is it cleaner, I mean, that's easy to fix and solve, but it just looks like the components are a little cleaner, a little less rust. There's my broken timing cover that I like to replace. I'm just looking around here for if I can see if the timing belt has been changed. The guy said it was changed 25,000 miles ago at 120,000 miles. Now that would be great. Mine with 95,000 miles has not been changed yet, so that's one repair I got to do. And if you look here, there's a new coil pack you put on, because there was a code that said number 5 cylinder was, you know, acting up or whatever. And now going down here, looking at the frame, both of these frames were replaced. Now the guy said when I bought this that this one was replaced a couple of years, 2 to 3 years ago. I'm gonna go verify that on the Toyota website. They'll tell you if you put in your VIN. And just looking at frame to frame here. Now here's I think his frame does actually look a little bit better. It's dirty, you know, it's got some mud and dust on it. This is my SR5, but mine looks like it has a bit more rust. You know, I think the guy that I bought the SR5 from said it was replaced in like 9 or 10 years ago. So look, at 10-year-old frame versus 3-year-old frame, is that big of a difference that I'd want to keep? Okay, well, wait, I'm doing this as a voiceover, so some of these don't line up exactly as far as when I'm saying what I'm saying and what's happening in the video. So look at this. Look at the mismatch between the bed and height difference. You can see that it's like a half an inch or so, and you might think, okay, no big deal, just pop off that trim and move it down a little bit. If you're really that picky, who cares? But the main thing I wanted to point out, I measured both beds. They're exact same width, so why does it look like this when you look from the front? See, it hangs out. It's totally hanging out. It made no sense to me. I was trying to figure out how this could happen. I think it has to do with when they replace the frames. When they put it back together, and you can see now this line doesn't line up, so obviously the bed is higher than the cab. Did they miss a spacer on the cab, and the cab is actually supposed to be a half-inch higher? Is that what happened? Because my frame got replaced on the SR5, and it lines up perfectly, the bed and the cab. So they must have done a better job. I can't imagine how on the limited model that it would in that frame replacement that they would bend the bed or just deform it in some way, because I took measurements about the same. But see how that lines up, clean line straight through? That happens because it's lined up as it should. They're the same level. So going back here to the rear diff cover, these things have a problem. Really thin metal, it rusts out and you get a leak, and this one already, from being on my driveway for just 24 hours, it's already dripping. The diff is dripping. Now on my SR5, it's doing a little bit better. No drips, no leaks, and no repairs, although it does look rusty, pretty rusty. It hasn't been repaired at all. The Limited, and I got a spare tire, which is nice. Of course, I could put that on either truck. The Limited, you saw that little leak, that is been repaired. It had a JB weld or something added to it. And that's apparently leaking again. So, seen some solutions, but it's not as simple as with other trucks. A rear diff cover, you just pop it on. You actually have to weld it on, and welding to cast iron seems to be a problem. Hard for people. I made a list of the 2 trucks to kind of figure out what's good on each truck, what I could save or put together. So, engine on the SR5, low miles, 6-seat, clean bumpers. Drivetrain has low miles on it, clean tailgate. Then the other truck, fender flares, just this whole list, brake controller, radio, the bed itself, power locks and windows, thinking about moving those over. And then the things, if I just wanted to sell that Limited, fix it up and sell it after I use the parts. Need some e-brakes, hood latch fix, front fender, that's about $50, but you got to paint it and check the codes, because there was a couple emissions things going on. I know it was a long video and a lot said, a lot shown really quickly. Not meant to really be a how-to, but kind of showing as the trucks get older what wears out in harsh environments, with the snow and the salt, what they end up looking like almost 20 years later. and kind of the plus and minuses of the different features. Like say for having 6 seats in one of them, 5 in the other, that 6th seat could really come in handy with a family if you got a family of 6 once in a while. So I'm glad I have the 2 trucks. I'm gonna definitely take them apart, put them back together, and try to get the best of both worlds, and then sell the other one. Hopefully get my $1,000 back or even more would be great. So we'll see how it goes.